Hello and welcome to MidSouth Matters on Germantown Municipal Television and to our special election broadcast featuring candidates for the Germantown Municipal School Board. I'm your host, Ruth Dunning, and my guest today is Suzanne Jones. Suzanne, her husband, and their 3 sons call Germantown home. Her 3 sons attend Germantown Municipal Schools and are 14, 12, and 10. She has 20 years of business experience, beginning as a CPA at Price Waterhouse and ending as a senior vice president of Bank of America. As she says, in 2008, she hit pause on her career, and over the last 8 years, she's been active in her son's school PTAs and an advocate with the school administration. Suzanne is currently the vice president of Dogwood Elementary PTA, an active member of the Houston Middle School and Houston High School PTAs. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you very much.
We're delighted to have you here.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Good. First, I want to ask you about what you think has been right about the schools and the new system in the last 4 years.
I think there's been a lot that's right. The fact that we have our own municipal school district is a gift that we have been given. I moved here from Wisconsin where I was a part of a very small district, and I understand the power that a small district has. The amount of work that our administration and our board has done over the last 3 to 4 years has been immense. To start something from scratch is not an easy thing to do, even when you have a roadmap or a floor plan, you might say. And I think we have accomplished a lot. I think looking forward over the next 3 to 5 years, it will pale in comparison of what we have to achieve and continue on for the next 3 to 5 years.
What do you think these challenges will be in the next 3 to 5 years?
Our rapid growth. Very simple. We are growing more than
the school population is growing.
That's exactly right. The school population is growing. When we initially set up and looked at the 5 and 10 year plan, we are past that. And so looking at having to really project what our next 5 years is going to look like is top of the priority list to see where do we really think we're going to be given our growth to date. As our superintendent says, we're 500 students over our capacity right now in our schools, and we could fill an elementary school tomorrow. That is not, I don't anticipate changing as far as the amount of students that we have coming in. And when you have that growth and when you're in the infancy of a district, there's a lot of change and a lot of issues that are going to be coming up. Land sites, school designs, the types of schools that you need, elementary, middle school, as well as really looking at your curriculum and your teachers' recruitment and retention. When you have this type of growth, your teachers have to grow with you. So I think when we look at all that we've accomplished over the last 3 to 4 years, we will have those same types of things that we have to continue looking at: the curriculum, the hiring of teachers, the looking at all of the school space that we need. It's going to be a very big challenge, and in my opinion, you need a very strong board over these next 3 to 5 years with the decisions that we have to make, negotiating with Shelby County Schools, just a long laundry list of things that need to be accomplished.
There are.
Yes.
Yes. You talk about maintaining good teachers, recruiting, et cetera. Do you have any specifics on how you go about that?
I actually think one of the first things we need to look at is our class size. I think there's a dual benefit of looking at the sizes of our classes. One, it gives your teachers less students in their classroom so that they can focus more, so that they can be more attentive. I continue to hear teachers tell me that if they had fewer students, how much more they could do. I think that could also help our curriculum, that could help many things that we deal with, but from a teacher perspective, having fewer teachers in their classrooms could be a big incentive. That's one of the things that we see when teachers are looking and comparing us to private schools, and so I think from a competitive perspective, that would be key. I also think that planning time is critical. When you look at teachers and the amount of time that they like and their passion wants them to do in planning for their curriculum and for their classroom time, giving them time during the day and during their work hours is critical. So I think really looking at those two things that are non-monetary but are very huge incentives that we could offer to teachers in a recruitment perspective. I also think it would be good to look at our compensation packages. We're not the only municipal district that's growing. And so the competitiveness of hiring great teachers and having great teachers on our staff is only going to increase. And so I think we need to make sure we're constantly looking at that and staying ahead.
These things that you mentioned are going to add to the budget.
Yes,
I
they
mean,
will.
If you have fewer students per class, and as a
Sure.
40-year
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes.
I approve. If you give teachers additional time, that means somewhere that has to be.
That's right.
The budget has to reflect that.
Exactly. And I think when I've been out knocking on doors, walking neighborhoods, talking to a lot of concerned parents, and not even just parents, but concerned citizens, that if we truly want excellence always in our school district, only being able to utilize the funds from the state are not going to be enough. And so I think when you look at the increases in our property values that have already increased and will continue to increase, that's more money that's coming into the city. You look at sales tax revenue that's coming in. Every day I see a new business opening. And so I think when you look at those numbers, we have increased revenue coming into the city. We also need to partner with our city. They have a huge commitment to our school district. A great school district results in a great city and a very strong city. And so I think what we have to do is put those numbers down on a piece of paper. We also need to engage our community. The initial response that I've gotten from the majority of the citizens is that they're willing to listen. If it truly means great things for our district, they're willing to listen to how much it would cost. So I think the first step is to putting those numbers on paper, because I will tell you, you retain teachers, you don't have to retrain teachers. So there will be some offset in building up your teacher base. And I also think that when we can talk about smaller class sizes than what the state is requiring, will draw even more people wanting to come into our city.
Oh, good schools are a huge draw for any city.
Yes, they are, yes.
Yeah. There's talk of a new elementary school.
Yes.
You said 500 students immediately could fill an elementary school. Where do you think this should be? That's been a little bit of a discussion.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. There are lots, and there's not as many options as we might want in Germantown, given the fact that we're a little landlocked. But I think there's more than we really might think. If I had my choice, I think it should be central in the community. I know that we have other schools that are central, but when you look at our population, you look at where the majority of our growth might be coming from, more on the west side when you see some of the houses turning and maybe newer families coming in, more of a central location for a school could be really key. At the end of the day, though, it needs to be a community, school board, and city decision. And I think that the process of determining where our schools should be, the school board should take the lead in that. We should be the ones who are looking at the land, who should be using the experts from the city, but not so much evaluating if the land is ready to build on, but more so, will it fit in our plan for where we anticipate our 5 years of growth coming, and will we have schools where they need to be so that we don't have children on buses for so very long, and that our schools do feel more like a community. When we look at neighborhood schools, we see a huge sense of community. We see a much bigger involvement, because parents who are nearby can take a phone call that says, I need help this afternoon, can you pop in? Absolutely I can, because it's right down the street. If you're 15, 20, 30 minutes away, it's not as easy on a day-to-day basis to get in there. So I would say central would be better, but at the end of the day, we have to gain acceptance from our community, and we need to really look at the feedback that's been gotten and really take a hard look at what available land is really there and how can we make it work, again, in our 5-year plan of where we do believe the majority of the growth of our students will come.
I'm a little confused about west side. Are we talking south of Poplar?
I would say south and north. I mean, when you look at Poplar Estates and you look at English Meadows, I'm just throwing those neighborhoods out, there's many others, but when you look at the the average age of our citizens who live in those neighborhoods, and I've been talking to real estate agents, that's where a lot of the turn is coming. So you have...
Oh, so your retirees are leaving
Yes.
and young people with children are
Children,
moving in.
Exactly, exactly. And so that's the hard thing to judge when you're looking at a 5-year growth plan is how rapidly will that happen. As our real estate values keep going up, I think people are looking a little bit closer to say maybe it's time for me to change and maybe downsize so I could you know, take advantage of these increased values. And there are plenty of young families looking to move in. Just actually last night had a conversation with a real estate agent that said that houses are turning in less than a week at that price range. And so I really do think that that's an area that could really have a spike in growth. But again, our administration looking at our growth, what assumptions are we making, could really get us there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And our time has just
Oh, wow.
flown
Oh, my
by.
gosh.
Yes. So I'd like to thank Suzanne Jones for taking the time out of her day to be on the show and sharing her vision for the Germantown Board of Education, Position 3. Stay tuned for more interviews with other candidates running for the Germantown Board of Education.